We are live. Good morning on a Taco Tuesday morning. I have yet to pour my coffee from my HEB brand Cody Gigantor tumbler. I'm going to do that right now. Woo! Woo! Woo, woo, woo! Sam Tobias, what is up, brother? You are the first in on a Taco Tuesday. Steve DeRocco, the original rock. Wes Perkins. What is up, Wes Perkins? All right, Tracy Bogert, Ralph Balderas. Let me guzzle some coffee while I get a chance. We have first guy in was Sam Tobias. Second guy in was Wes Perkins. Third guy in, Steve DeRocco, the original rock. Fourth guy in, John Williams from Dallas. Notice I'm saying guys, still waiting on the ladies to come in. Ralph Balderas, welcome. Tracy Bogert, the chairman of the Bexar County MAGA Republicans, coronavirus deniers, Vladimir Putin sympathizers, and voter suppression enthusiasts. Welcome. Very politically active that, Jeremy Pena. However, Tracy, and welcome in Hector Gomez, Astros, since the 11-game win streak, and they lost yesterday, they are 5-5. Amber, we finally have a lady in the house, in addition to Shannon, who's about to join us. So we'll have two. All right, where's my... There it is. Here we go. Oh, I need headphones. Headphones.
Now, Chris Duel.
It is a Taco Tuesday. Thank goodness. Every day is Taco Tuesday, but it's officially Taco Tuesday on Taco Tuesday. Boston Celtics blow out the Miami Heat last night, 102-82. Heat sort of didn't even show up. They got no field goals in the first 8.5 minutes. My God. That series now tied 2-2. They'll play again tomorrow night, and someone will take a 3-2 lead. There's that stat that we talk about a lot. When it's 2-2, the winner of game 5 to take the 3-2 lead has a huge advantage historically in going on to win the series. Speaking of winning the series, the Golden State Warriors will try to do that tonight against Shannon Salty Sweeney's beloved Dallas Mavericks, 8 o'clock on TNT. And Shannon, you were not confident going into this series. You said you were happy to be there. And apparently the Mavericks are playing like they're happy to be there. And we've talked about this before, Shannon. You don't want them to close you out on your home floor.
Yeah.
You're the Mavericks. And granted, you're packing your golf clubs. You're going to Cancun maybe tomorrow morning. But you for your fans, for everybody in that arena, you want to win that. Make them beat you in San Francisco. Extend it to play another day. I hope for the Mavs' sake and for the Mavs fans' sake that they show up and win this thing tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned happy to be here. I don't think I'm even happy to be here anymore because it's embarrassing and you don't want to get swept and done on your home floor. But the way that they've been playing, and by they, I mean everyone not named Luka, it's just not enough. And it's not going to be enough to get you certainly past the Golden State Warriors, who I think right now, if I'm the Warriors and I watched last night's game between Boston and the Heat, I'm like, this is going to be easy, no
Yeah.
matter who we get. So, they've got to be feeling good. And maybe that'll catch up to them tonight. Maybe they will let something slip where the Mavericks can pick up a game, because it'd be nice for them to win one game in the series. I know when I said Golden State in 5, people thought I was being mean to my own team. I'm like, listen, I'm giving us one game. Right now, that's all I'm asking for as we prepare for Game 4 tonight in Dallas. I think I'm maybe more excited to see what Charles Barkley does this evening than the actual game itself, because we had him, of course, riding in on that horse.
That was so cool.
Night one in Dallas. So we'll see where he goes from there.
Well, and to underscore something you just mentioned, you did pick Golden State in 5. And I kind of feel like, and again, in addition, you said it as well. Not only do you not want to lose a series on your home floor, you don't want to be swept in the NBA. Yeah. These are prideful guys, and I think
Conference
NBA
finals.
Yeah, I think NBA players have bigger egos, maybe even than other sports athletes, for a number of reasons. But I think there's a good chance Dallas does win tonight, and then I think if it goes back to San Francisco, the Chase Center, Golden State wins it in 5. So Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, that would mean you nailed that pick. You picked Warriors in 5, even though you're a Mavericks fan. And while I was away for the extended weekend for me, you have won the second leg of the Triple Crown. You have, for the second time, and the first time was an 80-1 shot. Mm-hmm. For the second time, you have picked the winning horse. You pick one more winning horse, you are going to win the Triple Crown of Triple Crown prophecy in horse racing. That's amazing.
It's dangerous because I have yet to place money on anything ever, and this is making me reconsider some of my life choices, and that maybe I should be doing so. And this morning, I see as we kind of thought, Rich Strike, he was going to be in the Belmont. That's why he didn't run the Preakness. He will be in the Belmont, but early voting, the Preakness winner, not running in the Belmont. So
that's so crazy.
I mean, I think it's maybe fair to say that we'll have 3 different horses win. So. Yeah, if I can somehow come up with the third horse to win the Belmont, I think I get a Triple Crown.
Well, and that's twice in a row now that, as you mentioned, winner of the Kentucky Derby. No, not going to race in the next one. Now, winner of the Preakness. Oh, no, I got to believe that's economic, Shannon, because especially the second one, you can't win the Triple Crown. And if that horse doesn't win the Belmont Stakes, then it's like, well, you were a big deal in the Preakness, but then whereas if you just stop now and you start stud fees, now that I gotta believe that horse is more valuable to other people in horse racing. And I admittedly I don't know a whole lot about horse racing. This is just logic that that horse is probably more valuable. Just stop now, and it's like, all right, anybody want some descendants of this horse, pony up some money. And I imagine that's what's going on here. Do you think I'm out of my mind, or do you think that might be right?
I think you're right. And having this conversation, I don't know if it's because it's early, but now I'm sitting here thinking of what do these races really mean? It's which horse gets to celebrate harder when they come across that finish line in first place?
It's a good question.
Oh,
sounds like load management, if you ask me.
Wow.
Jeremy KOLOK with the load management reference. So we could call these horses the Kawhi Leonards of horse racing. Jeremy KOLOK wearing the green Just Do It Nike hoodie on this Taco Tuesday morning. How are you doing, sir? How was your now I got it. How much of the Miami-Boston game did you stay up for? Because it was ugly from the get-go. It was all Boston and Miami pretty much phoning it in, saying, all right, we'll take a 2-2 series, and we'll take this thing back to Miami Wednesday night.
I don't know why, but I watched every second of that game. It was a terrible decision. And then at the end, too, I guess I just wasn't thinking, but that game was on ABC. It was I don't know why, but they threw it on ABC. So I watched this entire game. It was awful if you're just a fan looking to be entertained. And then I remember we don't even get Ernie, Chuck, Shaq, and Kid. There's no post-game show because it's on ABC. They don't have anything. They're just like, all right, that's our playoff game here, our Eastern Conference Finals game. But that's, sending y'all to the local news or whatever they have.
That's awful.
Yeah, so I stayed up for literally nothing. It was a terrible decision. And what are you supposed to make of that series? I think there's been a 20-point lead in every game so far.
It's so weird. God, it's so weird. And I think the Miami Heat starters, let me do a little Holmes High School math. The starters for the Miami Heat scored 18 points last night. Two of them scored 0. Jimmy Butler scored 6. Bam Adebayo scored 9. Kyle Lowry scored 3. And Miami did not score a field goal in the first 8.5 minutes of the game. And Jeremy, you've watched more quarters and minutes of the NBA playoffs than Shannon and I have. We watched a lot, but you stay up for entire blowouts like last night. What do you think? Did Miami early on, when the shots weren't falling in the first 5 minutes of the game, and they didn't fall for the first 8.5 minutes of the game for the Heat from the field, did Miami just say, we're probably going to lose this one on their floor anyway? We still have home court advantage for a 2 of 3, which is what this series essentially becomes. And let's just not exert ourselves tonight, and let's go back to Miami fresh. What do you think went on there?
Yeah, they looked awful, and I guess they just started mailing it in when you see the Celtics. They're on top of their game, right? They look like that game last series where Grant Williams looks like he's JJ Redick in a Duke uniform. You know what I mean? I guess they just looked like they weren't ready to play. And it's kind of funny because we mentioned the Warriors, and Shannon, I know your Mavericks are going to go out fighting and in a valiant effort, but it looks like, if you just look at the situation, it looks like the Heat and the Celtics are just beating each other up. I mean, they're just destroying each other with the amount of injuries that have been included in this series and that have impacted this series. And the Warriors are just cruising along, basically, watching the teams on the other side injure each other, knowing that they're gonna be able to face one of those teams in the finals coming up here. That's just what it seems like.
I'm Shannon, as I've told you and Jeremy, I've seen the Golden State Warriors movie too many times in my lifetime. Steph Curry chewing on his mouthpiece, draining threes, bringing his little kiddos to the post-game press conference. They win a title. There's a parade in San Francisco and Oakland. I guess San Francisco now. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Coach Gundy. Go ahead.
Are the finals on TNT? Or are they going to be ABC?
I think ABC. They're usually ABC.
Oh,
yeah, which sucks.
I was gonna say, like, you continue to get Chuck v. Warriors fans, and that would be something to hold on to.
That is such a that happens ABC every year, Shannon. It's such a disappointment to me because, like Jeremy, and we've said it many times, that is the best panel ever in sports. I used to, and it wasn't a panel; it was a broadcast crew. But I go all the way back to Monday Night Football when it was Don Meredith, Frank Gifford, and Howard Cosell. And I think that was absolute magic and brilliance. And obviously it wasn't a panel. That was your broadcast booth for Monday Night Football. You also had many years ago on the NFL Today on CBS, you had Brent Musburger, Irv Cross, and Phyllis George, a former Miss America from Texas, Phyllis George, who married John Y. Brown, who was owner of the Kentucky Colonels in the ABA back in the day. But I digress. And later you replaced Phyllis George with Jane Kennedy. That was a great panel show. But Shannon, nothing like that TNT show. And ABC should strike a deal because it's so noticeable when you go to the finals or when you go to any game that's not on TNT. When you go to the 4-letter network games or ABC and you don't see Kenny the Jet Smith, Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Ernie Johnson, it is a huge, noticeable drop-off. And as Jeremy just described, it's a disappointment. Here you are, a customer coming to watch this game and sit there for all the ads that they want you to sit through, and then we're disappointed because it's like, oh, this isn't so good after what I'm used to.
Yeah, and I did just confirm all of those finals games will be on ABC. So this could very well be the goodbye not only to my Dallas Mavericks tonight, but to that TNT broadcast crew for the 2021-2022 season.
I didn't think about that. Their final voyage could be tonight on TNT. Thanks for bringing me down. Now, Foamfoot 420, also known as Amber, on our live video feed wants a weekend concert review. And Shannon and Jeremy, I'll give it to you real quick. I saw the Eagles on Friday night at the Moody Center. And then Sunday night, I saw Daryl Hall and Todd Rundgren at the Moody Theater, home of Austin City Limits. So first thing, and Shannon, you've been curious about the Moody Center. I loved it. The acoustics were great for the Eagles. And what really blew me away, compared to like the AT&T Center, where I was recently for the NCAA tournament for the Elite Eight, they have figured out concessions at the Moody Center. You walk in, some of them you just pick up things and you check yourself out, including alcohol. It's like, I'll eat this. Here, let me pick it up. Let me get my beer. Let me walk over and just, with barcodes, check myself out. Now, because it's alcohol, somebody walks over, looks at you, goes, okay, that's an old guy. That guy's way older than 21. All right, I clear you. But I a couple of times during the show, probably more than like 3-4 times, I went out for a beer and boom, got my beer, got back. We ate food before the concert. It was easy. So acoustics were great. So building wise, a huge thumbs up for the brand new Moody Center in Austin. And the Eagles themselves were outstanding. They come out and they do all of Hotel California in its entirety. And in fact, at the very beginning, an old man walks out before the show starts, and he's carrying the Hotel California album in his hand. And he walks over to a turntable and he pulls out the vinyl album, and people are going, wow, is that the Nightman from Hotel Cal? We don't know. And so he puts it down, brings the needle over and puts it down, and boom, the lights come up, the curtain comes up, and song number one, they played it in order. Song number one on the album, Hotel California, is Hotel California. So they open with that. There was sometimes for certain songs that required an orchestra, there was a huge orchestra that came out of the scaffolding and rose above and behind the Eagles. There was a choir back there at one time. Everybody was phenomenal. So they do the whole Hotel California album. Then they take an intermission, and even Don Henley said, we're going to take a brief intermission, then we're going to come back and we're going to play Everything We Know. So the whole concert was like 3 hours. Lots of Joe Walsh's original material. Henley did Boys of Summer, which was one of his solo songs. So Eagles were great. And then 2 nights later, Moody Theater at a different location. I still can't believe you Austin people have multiple places to enjoy entertainment called Moody. I guarantee someday a guy's going to hop into an Uber and think he's going to the Moody Center, and he's going to say Moody Theater, and he's going to go to the wrong place. But Daryl Hall was great. Todd Rundgren was great. That's a fun theater. I had heard about the Moody. This is my first time in either venue. I had heard about the Moody Theater for years. It is so cool in there, as I'm sure you know. They've got big, portraits of great moments in rock and roll history, whether it's Johnny Cash or the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or Willie Nelson. So just Austin is the music capital of Texas, if not the world, as you know, Shannon. And what a great place to see some cool concerts. That was a lot of fun.
What did you do in between concerts? What was that experience for you?
We stayed at a La Quinta in the Domain, and you know the Domain well.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of ate at the Domain here and there, and then they had a pool. And even though it was supposed to rain over the weekend, there was great pool weather on Saturday and great pool weather on Sunday. So sitting in a pool, drinking adult beverages during the downtime in between concerts, it was a rough 4 days for me.
Yeah. What, you don't know where you ate?
Gosh, there was it was a burger place. What was it called? One of them was a burger place that I'll
Shake
Google
Shack?
it. No. It it was right around the corner from a brewery. It was a.
Oh, there's tons of breweries over there.
I know. I'll Google it during the break. And then we went to like a sports bar that had food, and I forget the name of the sports bar. So yeah. So the eateries really made a big impression on me. It was good. It was good food. So, all right, coming up, we have a great show for you this morning. 7:15, the brand new sports phenomenon in Austin, the Austin Gamblers, coming out of their draft. and about to embark upon their first season. Their coach and great veteran of professional rodeo, Michael Gaffney, going to join us at 7:15. We'll go in depth into all things NBA playoffs, and the upcoming NBA draft. KARL Schoening going to join us at 8:05. Shannon's Salty Shakedown just after 7:30, along with sports history and sports birthdays. You are invited to join us all morning long. A number of ways you can do it on the live video feed via Facebook Live, Twitter, or YouTube. You can dial us up the old-fashioned way. We'll talk to you on the radio, 800-707-9760, or leave us a talkback message. We love those on the free iHeartRadio app. You press that little microphone button, you leave a message, you press send, we get it instantly. We play it on the air, and we have some fun. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney, Jeremy KOLOK making the show go. The high five play of the day is next. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. Robert Browning, very cool video this morning, dude. Loved it. I shared it. It was very, very cool. Amber, I watched episode 1 of the George Carlin documentary. Loved it. We'll watch episode 2 tonight. Carlin is one of my 3 favorite comics ever. Bill Hicks, number 1. Carlin and Richard Pryor, and maybe Sam Kinison, all tied for second, with maybe a nod to Carlin for longevity. It is so good. He was so damn brilliant. And again, like a Bill Hicks, yes, he was a comedian, but as you know, having watched it, he was a philosopher. I mean, he was a brilliant comic, but he was a philosopher. Okay, I gotta find a. Favorite female comedian. I like Sarah Silverman a lot. Amy Schumer sometimes, not all the time. Chelsea Handler when she does stand up. Kathy Griffin, very funny. But I would go. I would have to go Sarah Silverman. Anyway, Robert Browning, sir. Great video. I shared it, as I will share anything you do. Joan Rivers, very, very good in her day. Phyllis Diller was kind of hugely successful and funny, but it was kind of she had a shtick. She had a character she played. Nothing wrong with that. But again, I go for more of a George Carlin or a Bill Hicks. And part of why Louisa, I thought about it. And then I thought, if I really like an Eagles t-shirt, I'll buy it online. I know there's something special about buying it at the concert, but I did not. And there were a lot to choose from. So I may still go online at some point. Okay. Oh, I got to find a phone number for our 7:15 guest. All right. Let's see. PBR.
You've got bugs. What's your move? A rattling can? Or a simple spritz? Bugs for your kids and pets? Will it be ingredients you can't pronounce? Or essential oils? Bother the bugs, not your family. Zevo uses essential oils, which hack bugs' biological systems, so Zevo kills bugs. Plus, is safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly. Now at a store near you.
Dave, you're vinyl, man. My budget doesn't. Call in time. Don't give it up. State Farm has options to get you a surprisingly great rate. Rock on. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
John Nieto saw the Hell Freezes Over show at the Alamo Dome. The only thing, and I made a Facebook post to this effect. You know, Glenn Fry, and I'm not a huge Glenn Fry fan. I like him. He passed away, obviously. My favorite Eagle is Don Henley, but Henley only mentioned him once, kind of in passing. I kind of wanted to see a Glenn Fry tribute of some kind, and I've told people it's like if the Beatles got back together, and Paul and Ringo, with whoever else they added to the band, did not really mention John Lennon or George Harrison. It's like, really? So I was, and my wife was as well, longing for a tribute to Glenn Fry. You know, they could have, I think they missed an opportunity. They could have said, yeah, this one goes out to one of our founders. We love him. We miss him, Glenn Fry. And the crowd would have gone wild, and you show a little montage of Glenn Fry, and you take you dedicate a song to him. In the same, Paul's doing that duet with John Lennon on his tour. Hector, I got to be honest, I don't love the new Spurs logos. Maybe they'll grow on me. They just, and again, though, when it comes to logos and uniforms and colors, other than the Fiesta colors, which I dig, but I tend to be a traditionalist. I tend to, want teams to not mess with it. There is a little controversy, though, that one with State of Texas with that Spur star in the middle. sure seems to be over Austin, Texas, according to some people. And the SATX, a lot of people are saying, oh, we can really see the ATX there. So I don't know. Spurs know what they're doing. Yeah, Luisa doesn't like them. Spurs know what they're doing. So, and on a certain level, I get it. If you're a business in the NBA, you know, there are certain fans out there who will just buy everything. One of them is named Taro Kotani. He's got a lot of Spurs merch. So, I mean, you put out a new logo, you put out some new items, and you're going to make more money. The cash registers will ring. Jason Paniagua, he loves them. I love them. Fiesta colors are okay, but we are silver and black. I see that too. Yeah, Sam, that 50 logo, I dig that one. And I think it's very well conceived. And the gold stars, the 5 gold stars signifying the championships. I think that's very cool.
Back. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Join in by dialing 1-800-707-9760.
Welcome in to Electric Avenue, also known as the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Jeremy KOLOK, who stayed up for the entire Boston Celtics blowout of the Miami Heat last night. He is your Soundscape stylist, providing music for your enjoyment and edification. He is also our chief meteorologist. Lots of rain in the forecast for Austin, San Antonio, and all parts in between today. Coming up, Michael Gaffney, the coach and longtime professional bull rider of the brand new Austin Gamblers franchise in professional bull riding. They are coming out of their draft. Lots of exciting news there. So we will get into all things PBR and Austin Gamblers with Michael Gaffney at 7:15. That's a fun new, you know, there's been professional bull riding, but never as a team. And it's now a league just going to begin very, very shortly. And Austin has the Austin Gamblers. So we'll learn more about them. We've talked about them before on this show. We're very excited about them. Shannon's Salty Shakedown coming up about an hour from now, a little less than an hour, along with sports history and sports birthdays. And we can't talk NBA basketball with having a Schoening on, KARL Schoening, NBA and basketball in general, basketball guru, basketball savant. We'll talk NBA playoffs. We'll talk NBA draft prospects with KARL. Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, on this show tomorrow morning at 8:05. And don't forget, Bill's got that book signing coming up Thursday, June 2nd at the Barn Door Restaurant in San Antonio, just inside the loop on North New Braunfels. We'll talk about that and more with Bill Schoening tomorrow. But right now, how about the high five play of the day? Perfectly sponsored by. They're the perfect sponsor for a segment called High Five. Sponsored by High Five. 2 locations in the Austin area. Everything you're looking for. Big screen TVs everywhere. Great games you can play. Laser tag, axe throwing, bowling, zombie dodgeball, and more. And great food, great drinks. Food special, drink specials. 2 of them in the Austin area. Get into one of the High Five locations. Shannon Salty Sweeney. Speaking of the Austin area, and although it's across the great state of Texas, we are proud, but especially in Austin, people will, I think, dig this high five this morning.
Yes, Chris, the Texas Tower, or as they say, light the tower, it's been lit quite a bit lately with commencements happening over the weekend and a lot of sporting events coming to and Big 12 championships. I saw that the speech team for Texas won a national title, but since we are talking sports here, we are giving the high five today to the Texas tennis team, who not only national champions, Chris, but back-to-back national championships, and they did so 4-1 over their rival in Oklahoma. the 4th title in UT women's tennis history and the 60th overall for UT athletics. They add another one to the tally. Light the tower. As far as when the tower will actually be lit, though, for that win, it was lit appropriately so for that day, but for the team to come and celebrate, they've got to get back home. So there will be an official tower lighting ceremony held at some point. But pretty cool to end the school year with another national title, and obviously baseball still out there doing their thing, and a few more sports wrapping things up. But a high five to that women's tennis program.
And again, and certainly in particular, and to win it twice in a row, back-to-back national championships for women's tennis at the University of Texas, to win it back-to-back. And again, Shannon, we talk about it a lot. This athletic program at Texas just keeps on keeping on, keeps on winning titles. And I know, obviously, we pay a lot of attention, as does everyone else, to college football and the Longhorn football team and what Coach Sark is trying to do at Texas, and that is make them a big winner once again, deliver a national championship soon. And but my goodness, you look at women's tennis, you look at so many of the great, the swimming team. I mean, we could just go up and down the athletic roster at Texas, but man, oh man, oh man, you just add yet another national championship, not only for tennis, but to the athletic program. Chris Del Conte, who oversees that whole athletic program, got to be one happy camper after that latest national championship.
Yeah, it's just another great mark for him to add to his resume. Texas athletics, we love to see the tower lit, no matter for what reason, but especially for these sports that don't get quite as much recognition as they should. And, that Texas tennis program, not a laughing stock, but kind of in a laughing state when they got their new tennis courts over by the Dish, because whoever designed it did not do so in a way of which everyone who was there in the stands watching could see. The way it worked was, if you were at one section of the bleachers, you couldn't even see half of the court. So they had to redesign their finished products so that those who went to attend these matches to see such great players were able to see both sides. And it's kind of important to see both sides of the tennis court specifically. How
do you design something like that and make that mistake?
How do you not check? How do you not, if how chefs taste their food along the way, how do you not, you're putting in the benches, how are you not going and sitting in each one and be like, yeah, I'd pay to sit here. Yeah, I'd pay to sit here.
Wow. Well, luckily they got that right. And again, though, I did want to underscore, Shannon, as you mentioned, to win this national championship, the Longhorns women's tennis team beat Oklahoma, which is always enjoyable. It's always good to beat those Sooners. And by the way, Texas went into that tournament for the national championship of women's tennis as the number 4 seed. So it's not like Texas was the number 1 seed and they were unbeatable and they were expected to win. I mean, they were the 4 seed. There were 3 other teams better placed and more expected to win this thing. So all the more impressive that Texas pulls this off.
Yes, and I'm sure they'll get a nice welcome home when they get back from Iowa, which is where that championship was played.
Yeah, which is, and again, you played it at the University of Illinois in Urbana, Illinois.
Oh, Illinois.
No. I guess everybody should have the right to. Wouldn't that have been better played in Texas or even in Oklahoma or in a more of a high profile venue than
I don't. Weather-wise, though, I have to feel like this time of year it probably was much more comfortable playing. A little bit.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. I didn't think about that. Speaking of sports viewing, Shannon and Jeremy, we for 10 weeks we had homework assignments on this show, and that was to watch on HBO Max, Winning Time: Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, which we did. And we enjoyed it. And even though he didn't enjoy it as much, Don Harris, see if we can get him back on the show this week. Don Harris from News 4 San Antonio did admit he watched all 10 episodes, which was cool. Tonight on HBO, ironically, and again on HBO Max, HBO's Real Sports, I believe it's still with Bryant Gumbel. I imagine Bryant Gumbel is still the guy there. they are doing a special on Deshaun Watson, and they're going to interview two of Deshaun Watson's accusers. We've heard a lot about this case, Shannon. It's a big deal. We know there are 22 accusers, but to actually, it's something we haven't heard yet, hear interviews with the accusers, to me, this is some must-see TV tonight. Yes, I will be watching the Golden State Warriors and your beloved Dallas Mavericks, 8 o'clock tonight on TNT, but I got to see the HBO Real Sports report tonight on Deshaun Watson's accusers.
His lawyer came out and said that Deshaun met with the NFL for about 3 days, and so a decision could be coming soon. So I'm curious of how, if any, impact from this HBO show would come into the minds or play into the minds of those making the decision on Deshaun's NFL future, and then how this works, in the civil lawsuits, or if they're even some of the women that are a part of that or not, or if they're deciding to get their money not from Deshaun Watson, but from, using this situation to go on something like HBO Real Sports.
Well, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Were they compensated for this? Probably. Don't know for sure. And if they were, how much? Jeremy KOLOK, is this you're a fanatic? You'll be watching every moment of the Golden State Warriors against the Dallas Mavericks tonight, but do you have interest in the HBO Real Sports special update on Deshaun Watson's accusers tonight?
Yeah, Chris, I'm kind of a show free agent right now. Like you said, Winning Time took up a lot of my, it was a staple to my week that I looked forward to. And maybe that's the reason I watched that entire blowout last night between the Heat and the Celtics, because that yesterday was the day that I normally would watch Winning Time. We normally watched it on Mondays because the three of us have a very unique schedule, right? So yeah, I'll check this thing out, Chris, now that you bring it to my attention. Like I said, I'm a show free agent right now, so
I like that.
I'm willing to go anywhere.
I like how you put that. You are a free, somebody can sign you. And if you're HBO, here we go again, something in the sports realm, just like Winning Time, that is making us tune into HBO tonight for HBO Real Sports. And Shannon, you bring up that Deshaun Watson, according to his attorney, met 3 days with the NFL. Whenever the NFL imposes its sanction, which, many of us are assuming it's going to be 6 to 8 games, maybe a whole season. We don't know yet. But again, I still wonder, what if more comes out?
Yeah.
Granted, the authorities in Houston decided not to press criminal charges. So as you mentioned, we're in the civil phase of proceedings now against Deshaun Watson. But, what if just more awful, what if you go, okay, 6 games and then more of these interviews come out, or more people come out with worse allegations? On so many levels, on not only whatever the suspension is, and I think most of us assume the NFL's conduct policy, there's got to be some kind of suspension. He clearly behaved badly one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, but if you're the Cleveland Browns, Shannon, you gave up a king's ransom to get Deshaun Watson. I still think this could just blow up in the Cleveland Browns' face if we learn worse things about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people who would love to see that happen, and I'm looking more into this HBO interview with these women. And HBO did their due diligence. They tried to get Deshaun.
Yes.
Deshaun's camp declined, citing the pending NFL investigation, and their belief that HBO would not be, shining a favorable light on Mr. Watson, which I think is probably fair to believe given the circumstances. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it until this weekend, but gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, we will do everything.
We'll either walk away feeling like, wow, we got a lot of information, or like, tell us something we don't know.
Yeah. I just think, the worst part of it, what we know about Deshaun Watson, what we know about these allegations is he would hire women to provide a massage for him. They were professional massage therapists. And then Deshaun took it too far, apparently, made it a sexual thing one way or another. The details of that, will be probably graphic and awful. When you hear it, it's almost like the Ray Rice video. When we heard Ray Rice hit his fiance, who later married him, the generosity of women never ceases to amaze me. But when you saw the video of Ray Rice knocking out his woman, it's like, oh my God. I think a similar thing is going to happen here when you look into the eyes of a woman who is telling the story about how she was violated in one way or another by Deshaun Watson. I think it's going to be damning. And I think, Shannon, it's going to take public opinion to another level, and a level that Deshaun Watson and his attorneys don't want it going to.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned everything blowing up in the Browns' face. That part, yes, they need to know whether or not he's going to be able to get on the field, but a fan base, the NFL's ruling isn't necessarily the ruling of the people, and something like this could go a long way in their fandom, and they have one of like the historic great fandoms, right? I mean, they've stuck with them through nearly everything, and to think that something like this might, force people to say, all right, I need a new team. I'm going to go with the Bengals. They're hot right now. They're still in the same state.
Yep. Lots more coming up. In fact, in the next segment, we will talk more NBA playoffs, NFL, and Major League Baseball. But we'll also be joined by Michael Gaffney, the coach of the Austin Gamblers, professional bull riding team competition, which is about to begin. Stick around. Chris Duel Show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
My bad.
Let's see. Oh, I know what I got to do. Fonzie J. Rodriguez, good morning. I have got to record 3 R&R Auto Glass commercials. They're 30 seconds each. Hopefully I won't screw them up. I normally don't make you
What's your move? A rattling can?
I normally don't make you sit through my recording of spots, but yeah, sometimes I'll torture you and make you sit through 3. They are a great company. That's the beauty. So they're very cool. Great people, great company. They save you money. They do a great service. They're fast. So let me get this party started. My live feed just went a little weird. Oh, there it goes. John, I'll check that in a minute. Got to get this done real quick. Okay, I need 30 seconds. That is a stereo. So here we go. 3. Chris here for the great folks at R&R Auto Glass. They've been around since 2006. They are here for you all the time. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle. They do window regulators, camera calibration, all with a lifetime warranty and customer service through the roof. They got a mobile service. They can come to you if that's what you need. UTSA senior and military discount. Speaking of discount, ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the low price. Everything you need is at the website, rnrautoglass.com. R&R Auto Glass. That's uno. I need 2 more. In 5 seconds. Chris here for the great folks at R&R Auto Glass. It's where I take my vehicle. You should too. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, window regulators, camera calibration, all with a lifetime warranty and customer service through the roof. They got a mobile service. They can come to you if that's what you need. UTSA senior and military discounts. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the already low, reasonable pricing. All the info's at the website, rnrautoglass.com. Go check it out. R&R Auto Glass. Una más. In 5 seconds. R&R Auto Glass is the best. Nobody does it better. Nobody's going to save you the money that they can save you. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, window regulators, camera calibration, all with a lifetime warranty and customer service through the roof. They got a mobile service. They can come to you if that's what you need. UTSA senior and military discounts. Speaking of discount, ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the low price. Check out the website, rnrautoglass.com. Then call them R&R Auto Glass. Woo, okay. Whoa, okay. Yeah, Louisa, I think they draft riders. They draft the guys who ride those bulls. We'll find out. Okay, so I'm going to save that. John Williams asks me, as a kid in the 70s and 80s, where was the first place I headed to when I went to the mall? I would go to the record stores. I was, whether or not, if it goes all the way back to vinyl and then later 8 tracks. That's how old I am. Okay, schedule. When is it in Austin? It is at the Moody Center.
Jake from State Farm here. Some other car insurance companies are increasing their rates in your state. But don't worry, if your bill's gone up, switch to State Farm for surprisingly great rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or visit statefarm.com for a quote today.
Fonzie J. Rodriguez, did I buy any Iron Maiden records? I did not. I wasn't a big metalhead. Again, I'm a Beatles fan. Let's see, what did I buy back in, I bought Rolling Stones. I bought Beatles. I like Dan Fogelberg. Sorry. Willie Nelson. Jason, that's a good question. How much actual coaching goes into bull riding? I will ask him that question. He is Michael Gaffney. Kind of a big deal, apparently. I was just reading. He's one of the founders of professional bull riders. He's been a broadcaster. He's done a lot of stuff in the sport. Okay, now here we come. Woo! Yeah, Fonzie, I'm a classic rock guy. What can I tell you?
This is the Chris Duel Show. Now, Chris Duel.
It is a Taco Tuesday. It is May 24th. Lots of rain in the forecast around Austin, around San Antonio, across Central and South Texas. Be careful out there if you get hit by the rain. Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. We are talking NBA playoffs as the Boston Celtics blew out the Miami Heat last night, 102-82. That series now tied 2-2. They go after it tomorrow night in Miami. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors will try to close out the Dallas Mavericks tonight in Dallas. That's an 8 o'clock start on TNT tonight. And as Shannon mentioned, and I didn't even think about it till she said it, that could be it for that TNT broadcast crew, which, of course, means our beloved Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Ernie Johnson. It's a travesty, I think, that those guys are not involved in the ABC telecasts of the NBA Finals. So Warriors trying to punch their ticket to the NBA Finals tonight. I hope they don't, but that's just me. We talked a little Deshaun Watson. There's something else to watch tonight on television. HBO Real Sports interviewing two of the accusers of now Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. And speaking of Cleveland sports, last night, Shannon, the Cleveland Guardians, I'm still not used to saying that, but I'll work on it. The Cleveland Guardians came to where you are, Houston, and defeated the Houston Astros 6-1 last night to open up that series. I'm not too happy about that. The Astros, Shannon, since that 11-game win streak, which was tremendous, they've played 10 games since that 11-game win streak. The Astros are 5-5 in the last 10 games after the 11-game win streak. So they need to kind of get things going here.
I was spending the afternoon kind of around Minute Maid and was having a late lunch and sitting there, and some folks in Guardians uniforms walked in, and it took a minute to realize, okay, Guardians, what sport? Baseball.
Yeah.
Are they here? Why are they wearing that here? And then I had to look at the schedule and realize that the Astros are still playing at home. But I guess those fans had a good time since it ended 6-1 in favor of those Guardians.
Yeah, Guardians. And I'm the same way. I'll see the name or I'll see the logo, and my first thought is, okay, is that an Arena Football League team? What are the Guardians?
And Galaxy.
Yeah, then it kicks in. So Astros will go at it again tonight. I think Framber Valdez is on the mound for the Astros tonight in a little bit. In fact, within 5 minutes, we expect to have a conversation with Michael Gaffney of the PBR Team Series. It's a brand new sport. It is Professional Bull Riding Team Series. They are in Austin. They're the Austin Gamblers. And in fact, Shannon, we've talked about it before. They're going to play they'll be the first team sport in the Moody Center. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. And you were just there. So what do you, now that you've been inside, how does it look as far as a sporting venue with how the seats are kind of closer to the court where all of the sporting events will obviously be played? What was your review from the sports angle?
And I did, obviously the configuration was different for the Eagles concert on Friday night than it will be for Texas Longhorn basketball and professional bull riding. But yeah, I did try to visualize it. All right, that's where the court's going to be. And it is. I think I did notice the seating is, it's pretty intimate. I think, unlike the Frank Irwin Center that was designed a gazillion years ago, I think they did their best to get those seats closer to the action. And I think people are going to like it. I think it's going to be cool and kind of a feather in the cap of the Austin Gamblers to be the first team sport that will be in the Moody Center.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge moment.
Well, and speaking of that, we have the head coach. And this guy has just done it all. He was involved at the very beginning of PBR. He has served as a PBR broadcaster. He had a world championship career, one of the original founders, and now he's the coach, and he's certainly involved with the front office. A lot of people say he's the de facto general manager of the Austin Gamblers, the one and only Michael Gaffney. Michael, how are you doing on this Tuesday morning? Well, thanks for joining us. We are so excited, and you guys are coming off the draft where, and again, given your knowledge of the sport of PBR, I got to believe that was an advantage for you somewhat. Talk to us a little bit about who you got, who you drafted, and how you think they're going to perform for you.
Well, it was, Chris, last night, just kind of a monumental moment for us in the PBR. We've come a long ways from 1992 when we formed this company in a room of a hotel in Scottsdale, Arizona. So in 30 years, it's unbelievable to me to see where it was and where we've been, where we've come to. It's just it's incredible. So last night to become the Gamblers head coach, first and foremost, is just a real honor for me, for the Durbin family who grew up in Houston. So, it was a special time for us last night, and I believe we have the making of a great team. We drafted our first 5 guys last night here at our inaugural draft, here at Texas Live here next to the Arlington Stadium. So, yeah, Chris, just really excited about the young guys we have, and leading that charge is our two-time world champion Jose Vitor Lima from Brazil, who's just been an amazing athlete who came out of Brazil, was a star soccer player down there, and decided at the age of 17 he wanted to ride bulls professionally, and just came onto the scene and just dominated.
Well, you mentioned he used to play soccer. How does one get into bull riding? How does someone decide, hey, you know what? I want to get on top of this 1,000-pound animal and see how long it takes for it to buck me off. How did you get into the sport?
Well, it's kind of funny. Our sport is known for most of the kids coming from a kind of a country or a Western background, ranching background. Myself, like some of the others that you've seen or have heard of in the sport, my dad was a jet fighter pilot, and I was raised on bases across the country in the early 70s, and ended up down in southern New Mexico during the Vietnam War, where my dad was stationed. And I think geographics played a big part in that, just because of where we were. And when we retired in the mid 70s after Vietnam, we were just kind of out there in the Alamogordo area in southern New Mexico, and just kind of found my way. I had a Shetland pony when I was about 2.5 years old, and he became my bucking machine. And how they say is the rest is history.
Wow, and what a history. Michael Gaffney, the head coach of the Austin Gamblers, with us as they get ready for this inaugural season of the team series of PBR. And Michael, you mentioned it. You know, you were there at the beginning in 1992. You have seen this sport grow, achieve tremendous success, and now moving into a team series, and you know, something that struck me as well, you know, Michael Dell, who we now know has become a part of the San Antonio Spurs ownership group, now also a part of the Austin Gamblers ownership group. When he comes on board, you know, it's a big deal, and maybe even a bigger deal than some people realize. How do you feel, having seen this sport grow since 1992 to now evolve into a team series? Do you think it's the right move at the right time for the sport?
I think it's absolutely, Chris. I think, you know, from where we were, like we spoke of, into where we are now, and we as an organization, the PBR, you know, we've kind of had formats like this in the past. We just recently completed the what we call the Global Cup up here at the Arlington Stadium just a few short months ago, that showcases, you know, all the organizations, that being PBR Australia, PBR Mexico, PBR Canada, of course here in the States and Brazil, and it's a culmination of all the countries of PBR organizations coming together and having what we call our PBR Olympics, and putting the countries in a competition format with our riders. And so it has that team concept. It has for many years in the past, and it's been a huge success. It's a great thing for our fans to get behind. And so we have had that team format before. It's been a successful situation. So Sean Gleason, our CEO, has kind of held this teams format in his war chest, so to speak, since before COVID. Broke it out, caught the ears of our owner there in Austin, Egon Durbin, and his wife Abby, and they, like I said, grew up in Texas, going to the Houston Astrodome to the rodeo and having knowledge. He's a huge sports guy, owns sport franchises across the globe, and just a wonderful family. And to see it, you know, become this and have these 8 franchises and be spearheaded by owners like this, Johnny Morris, who owns Bass Pro, these types of individuals, the George family. I can't say enough about the individuals that have got involved in this, like Michael Dell. I mean, I met Michael the other night at our team launch dinner there at Lonesome Dove, downtown Austin, and what a real pleasure to meet him and his family, and to have him, you know, step in there with Egon and become a supporter of the Austin Gamblers, and what a powerhouse duo we have in our ownership. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this inaugural season that we're having. We start off at our first event at Cheyenne Frontier Days there the end of July. And so I think us as coaches and the GMs are kind of happy this draft is now behind us. And now we can concentrate on getting our guys a little bit of rest after the World's Finals that just completed this last weekend also. Get our teams together in winning spirit and forge ahead to that first event. And it's going to be great. And then we'll culminate, we'll end the season there at Las Vegas, which is traditionally where we have our World Finals for the World Championship. But this year will be the teams format there in Las Vegas the first part of November. And yeah, I think the Austinites and the other team cities, hometown cities, can really get behind our riders, our bull riders, and it'll be. I really think it's going to be a great first season.
Well, Michael, you mentioned some of those events, and at the end of August 26th, PBR will be in Austin, Texas at the Moody Center. You'll get that home field advantage. Have you been inside the Moody Center? Chris was just there for the first time, says it's incredible. And what do you think about getting to perform there as the first athletic event to take place in the all-new Moody Center?
And I think that tells you a lot. I mean, how exciting, right? You know, my wife and son and I just moved to Austin. It'll be a year come July. My son's a soccer player, and we moved down there distinctly and exclusively for him. And I've learned a lot about, you know, the city and the infrastructure and that, of course, the Moody Center, and just a beautiful building. I have to say I've not been inside the building as of yet. We haven't got that far. It's been a fire hose, you know, last handful of months since the birth of this team. And I have yet to step inside the building, but I drive by it quite often, back and forth, going to all these soccer games around town, and I can't wait to go see it inside. I've heard a lot about it, but it's something to look forward to, absolutely, for myself, for the team, and for the city.
He is Michael Gaffney, the head coach of the Austin Gamblers, of the new PBR team series that is getting underway. And Michael, we got a question from a listener. And his name is Jason Paniagua, and his question is, and you are the coach of the Austin Gamblers. He says, how much actual coaching goes into bull riding? And I imagine a lot of people, Michael, see it as an individual sport. And you think of the individual rider there, at the helm, at the reins, just trying to ride. But talk to us a little bit as a coach, what your job is and how you will be coaching these riders.
Well, I think let's make it clear. These are top professionals. They wouldn't be on the top tier and be in the UTBs if and they have to qualify and they consistently have to kind of prove their worth by making it on the top tour of the PBR and on the television tour and Unleash the Beast tour. And so let's make that statement first. Secondly, where I would come in, and I can go back to my career, Chris, in the 15 plus years I rode in the pros, there's always tweaks and corrections and slumps, and there's ups and downs. There's lots of ups and downs in bull riding, lots of injuries that you have to deal with. It's almost entirely a head game, and it's something that I think from a head coach's perspective, I can be there to help keep them grounded and try to remind them why they're here, and what it took for them to get there on their own, because it is such an individualistic sport. But in this team format, they have a support system, through me and through the rest of the team that they'll be surrounded by. So that's what I'm excited, I think, about most, is just the support system that myself and the GM and the rest of the infrastructure of the Austin Gamblers and the family who owns the business can do for these cowboys, something we've never had before in professional bull riding. So this is going to raise the bar. This is really going to set a whole new precedence, I think, for professional bull riding, and the individuals that being the bull riders is going to be unbelievable for them to have that infrastructure and to have that support system behind them and their teammates.
It's going to be so exciting. As Shannon mentioned, it is coming to Austin as the PBR Team Series does make its way across the country. It is coming to Austin to that Moody Center August 26th, 27th, and 28th. Michael Gaffney, the head coach. Michael, finally, and I would imagine, you know, there are huge, obviously the sport and PBR are so popular. There are huge fans who already know, and they are itching to just, you know, see it live at the Moody Center in late August. But for someone who has not been to a PBR event and might be considering, you know, supporting the Austin Gamblers and going to see you guys at the Moody Center compete, what would you, how would you describe it to them, and why would you suggest that they come on out and buy their tickets?
I think first, if most people, I think have crossed the you know, maybe a TV channel here and there has seen bull riding at some level or not, I believe. And if they haven't, you're talking about a sport that is, you know, so dangerous and so brutal, but so exciting for an entire family. There's something for everyone. You've got the athleticism of the animal athletes. They're just an amazing athlete to come watch it, and then to see the Cowboys, you know, try to ride these bulls. I can't express enough what's going into this sport these days. The care that's given to these animals, and the care and the work ethic of these Cowboys to ride these animals, because the level of competition has just been, it's surpassed so many different levels, even since I retired back in the early 2000s, you know, 2004. So Chris, I mean, to be able to express to a fan that's either you know, looking to come to the event or is only dabbled in it, whether it be from an amateur level, this is a whole new level. And once we get people into the building, into the arena, and they watch this, I mean, between, you know, the high power sound and the lights and then the athleticism, like I said, of the Cowboy and the Buck and Bull, I mean, we'll have them hooked. I mean, it's a given. 99.9% of the people that come to our events, they return and they crave more. It's one of those things. I mean, I think because we're human beings, we've, you know, going back to gladiator times, you're always, you know, looking for something that's you know, ultimately, you know, dangerous, and it is a dangerous sport, but it's so exciting to watch. And I can't express enough to our fans out there who haven't seen this at this level. They need to come. And what a more perfect venue than the Moody Center. I mean, it's from what I understand, like I said, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, we'll have our first event there in August. And yeah, I'd love to have everybody come out, because I think it'll be something that they'll want to come back to. And once they've seen the team gamblers, I think they'll be proud of their guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. Michael Gaffney, the head coach of the Austin Gamblers. And again, for more information, you can get to the Austin Gamblers through the PBR website at pbr.com. You got a little drop downs there. You can click on each team. You can learn more about everything, professional bull riders, the team series, about the Austin Gamblers, and more. And again, it will be at the Moody Center August 26th through the 28th, and it's going to be huge. Michael Gaffney, congratulations on what looks like an incredible draft, and congratulations on the brand new debut season of this team series. And we're all looking forward to August 26th through the 28th at the Moody Center, when we can all see the Austin Gamblers. Thanks so much, Michael. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks to you, Chris and Shannon. I appreciate you having me on this morning. Hope to see you at the Moody Center.
Absolutely. We'll be there. Thanks so much to Michael Gaffney. And again, Shannon, as I mentioned to you and Jeremy earlier, that, you know, one of the biggest things about the Eagles concert Friday night at the Moody Center was how they figured out concessions. I mean, I got my food fast. I got my beer fast. my wife Beth got her Chardonnay fast. And like in the middle of the concert, you know, you're at you don't want to miss any of the concert, but it's like, I need a beer. So it's like, all right, it's like, I know this song, I like this song, but they haven't done Desperado yet. So let me go get a beer. And it's like, out, boom, there's my beer, and I'm back in my seat quickly. I think they've really, and hospitality, walking in and out of the Moody Center, Shannon, everybody was so nice. It was like I think they've really put a premium on customer service. I think they know what we want as somebody going to either a concert or a sporting event there. And, I give them an A++ for execution on Friday night. So I think it's going to be perfect for Longhorn basketball, for concerts, and here for the Austin Gamblers in August.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. Hopefully that'll be soon.
Well, and everybody's going to be excited to check out the Salty Shakedown, which is moments away in the very next segment. We've also got this day in sports history, sports birthdays. Then at the top of the hour, our basketball savant, KARL Schoening. Can anybody stop the Golden State Warriors? Could the Celtics or the Miami Heat stop the well-oiled machine that is the Golden State Warriors? They're going for the sweep tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk NBA playoff prospects as that June 23rd, less than a month now. Today's the 24th of May. That June 23rd NBA draft coming. Spurs with 3 picks in the first round. We'll talk that and a whole lot more with KARL Schoening at the top of the hour. She's Shannon, Salty Sweeney, Jeremy KOLOK, making the whole show go. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Woo! All right. Absolutely, Jason. Is it Murrell? And I've asked you this before. I think we did this maybe last year. Is it Murrell or is it Murrell? Or is it Murrell? Murrell. Tell me if I'm going with Murrell. Tell me if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hate mispronouncing people's names, and I do that often. Anthony, I did not see this earlier. I don't know if you're still here, man. Anthony Del Toro says, good morning. Today is bittersweet. It's a bittersweet day as we lay my 92-year-old grandmother to rest with grandpa. Wow, man. I know that's got to be tough, Anthony. So, all of our thoughts, all of our prayers with you and your family. My goodness. Like Merle Haggard. So Merle. Okay, thank you. That helps me. Merle. Good morning, Beth Settle. You made it. Welcome in. I hope you're feeling better this morning. I just mentioned your Chardonnay service at the Moody Center on the radio. Yeah, Anthony, if you're still in here, man, we're thinking about you. Let's see.
What's your move? A rat in a can? Or a simple spritz? Bugs for your kids and pets? Will it be ingredients you can't pronounce? Or essential oils? Bother the bugs, not your family. Zero uses essential oils.
So, Jason, we will do that out of the gate here.
Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets.
And actually, I might, I'll do it since sports birthdays are coming up, Jason. We'll do it. It'll be my final sports birthday. Did somebody say ice? Yeah, I'm low on ice, man. There's a little bit in there, Sam Tobias. I got to get me some more ice, but I think I'm going to do that in the next segment. Sam Tobias, my niece graduated from Palo Alto College as an early high school graduate through Kennedy High School this past Friday. So, okay, wait a minute. So she was in high school, but also graduated from Palo Alto College. She might supplant Jeremy KOLOK as our resident brainiac. That's pretty amazing. Okay. Been sitting since 7 o'clock. I should stand up a little bit here. She participated in the early college high school program with Palo Alto College through her high school, John F. Kennedy. She will be graduating from Kennedy High School on June 8th. Okay, I get it. That's still amazing to be taking college courses in high school. It's very cool. Louisa, I Ubered. We stayed at a hotel at the Domain, so we intentionally Ubered to the Moody Center. So I didn't get a good look at parking. I did see a parking structure. So I'm not good to answer that question because of the Uber. But the customer service was remarkable. Concessions were fast. Acoustics were great. The acoustics for the Eagles in the Moody Center were better than the Moody Theater for, they were decent acoustics, obviously Austin city limits. But there was, when Daryl Hall came out, Todd Rundgren came out first. When Daryl Hall came out, his band was so loud. It was the same band members, but for whatever reason, they cranked volume for Daryl Hall, and it was almost too loud and a little distorted. But the acoustics for the Eagles in the Moody Center were pretty amazing. So I think, and that would make sense. It was a brand new, a newly designed state-of-the-art arena facility. So whatever you have to do to make acoustics very, very good, I'm sure that was planned and engineered into the building. Moody Theater was very cool, though. It was my first time there as well. And they were both really cool venues. Yeah, I just noticed today, I brought it up with Michael Gaffney, that Michael Dell of Dell Computers, who is a Spurs owner, part of the ownership group, did buy into the Austin Gamblers. Speaking of Spurs, some of you brought it up. We do have to, we do have to mention, I dropped something, those new Spurs logos. Here we come. Woo!
Let's get back to with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Find Chris and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
I had to wait for the lyrics to figure out if that was Michael Jackson or Weird Al Yankovic. So I wasn't sure if that was Beat It or Eat It by Weird Al Yankovic. Turns out it is Beat It by the gloved one, MJ. Michael Jackson, not Mac Jones. That Mac Jones would be MJ 12. What number is Mac Jones, Shannon? 9? MJ, what?
There's no way he's 12.
No, yeah,
I
12
think
would
he's
have been Brady.
10.
You're right. MJ, yeah, I think he's 10. I think he's,
Yeah,
I don't know.
10.
I haven't memorized Mac Jones's number. All right, 10. Thank you. Coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. We're moments away from it. Just after the top of the hour, we always love talking basketball with KARL Schoening. He is a basketball savant. He lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, and probably performs other basketball functions. He's amazing. We thank you. We love his basketball knowledge. He's always a great guest, great broadcaster, great guy, and a certified yoga instructor. That KARL Schoening. I got to take a yoga class from KARL Schoening sometime. I have not done that. I might bring that up with him. That's right. This is your home for yoga and hockey talk. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. All right, before the Salty Shakedown, how about some sports birthdays? And this day in sports history, May 24th, 1967, the American Football League grants a franchise to the city of Cincinnati, my wife's hometown, and they will call it the Bengals. So happy birthday, Cincinnati Bengals, born this day in 1967. On this day in 1987, at the Indianapolis 500, 47-year-old part-time driver, had become a part-time driver, Al Unser Sr., won his record-tying 4th Indy title. It was a huge upset. He was not supposed to win. So then, 5 years later, on this day in 1992, at the Indianapolis 500, Al Unser Jr., the son of Al Unser, holds off Scott Goodyear to win his first Indy 500. It was the first ever second-generation driver to win at Indy, and he wins it just 5 years after his dad won it. And finally, on this day in 2015, again, an Indianapolis 500 result. Champion, he had won it in the year 2000. Juan Pablo Montoya of Colombia sets a record for the most years in between two victories in the race. 15. Juan Pablo Montoya won the Indy 500 in 2000. He won it again in 2015. That is the biggest spread ever from victory to victory in the history of that fabled race. That's your sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1962, Hector Macho Camacho. That's a good name for a boxer. Macho, Hector Macho Camacho, born in Puerto Rico. He was the WBC super featherweight champion from 83 to 84. He was the WBC lightweight champion from 85 to 87. And he was the WBO junior welterweight champion twice from 89 to 92. Hector Macho Camacho passed away in 2012. Born on this day in 1963, Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame guard Joe Dumars of the bad boy Detroit Pistons, a 6-time NBA All-Star. Joe Dumars was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. It was a good day to be born a basketball player. Also born this day in 1979, Tracy McGrady, also in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. An NBA All-Star from 2001 to 2007. He was the NBA scoring champion twice in 03 and 04. Multiple teams, Tracy McGrady, the Raptors, the Magic, the Rockets, a cup of coffee with the Spurs, actually. Tracy McGrady was born in Bartow, Florida. And last but certainly not least, today is the birthday of Jason Paniagua's mom. Jason, big listener and viewer of the show. We love Jason Paniagua. His mom is Diane Merrill. Diane Merrill. Good. Happy birthday, Diane. You got a pretty good son there, Diane. You raised him well. So happy birthday to mom of Jason, Diane. That's your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, farm animals, polis essence, and monkeys, here it is, your Taco Tuesday Salty Shakedown.
We talk about it. It's the dog days of summer, and that goes not only for our craving of football, but the lack of television and things to watch. I mean, when the fall hits, not only do we get some of our favorite television shows back, but we get football back in action throughout the week. And as we learned last year with the Indianapolis Colts, Hard Knocks is now interested in doing an in-season version. We already know the training camp version this year is been bestowed upon the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, and however they decide to, throw in that number 2 overall draft pick this year. But the question remained, who would be the in-season team? And would they even do it again? Because there wasn't much talked about as far as the Indianapolis Colts season. But, Chris, we now have an answer. Yes, they are doing it again. And the team that they have chosen has been announced as well. It is none other than the Arizona Cardinals, which leads me to believe that how the summer version, the training camp, right, they have all these kind of stipulations as far as what makes them eligible or not eligible to be a part of that show. I felt like because Arizona was not able to be part of the, or at least I don't think they were one of the candidates for a possible appearance on that show, that they wouldn't get the in-season version, but they love the drama. And Kyler Murray, who did not attend OTAs yesterday, that drama there is plentiful. There's also J.J. Watt, who we know the cameras loved when they were with the Houston Texans one summer. Obviously, the situation with wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins is a big new story, and they're acquired that other wide receiver out of the Eagles. So, Hollywood Brown. They've acquired him as well out of the Baltimore. So, going to be a lot of storylines to look forward to, not to mention the best-looking coach in all of football, Mr. Cliff Kingsbury, bringing the real star power to that program. Chris, does this excite you for the in-season version of Hard Knocks? Already so much football to watch, and then throw this on top of it.
Well, Shannon, as you know, and we subscribe to the adage, more football is good football. And yes, last season I watched the Indianapolis Colts, the in-season version of Hard Knocks, loved it, became a kind of a closet Colts fan. It's hard to watch these things and not kind of start pulling for that team a little bit, because you get to know these players. And as you mentioned, the best looking coach in the National Football League, Cliff Kingsbury, Coach Dude. And I had remembered there was a short time when Cliff Kingsbury was the backup quarterback to Tom Brady at New England, Shannon. And it was before Brady was married to Giselle. And we once had Cliff Kingsbury on the radio at another radio station. And we asked him, what's it like to be the backup quarterback for Tom Brady? And he said, well, they would go clubbing because they were both bachelors at the time. And Cliff Kingsbury said he got Tom Brady's table scraps. So in other words, if Tom would select a woman that he was interested in, but all those other women, Tom Brady's table scraps were available to Cliff Kingsbury. So hopefully Tom will never become a head coach, because Tom would take Cliff's title as the best looking coach in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for J.J. Watt, because I know he did not love all of the cameras and getting that attention for Texas fans. Colt McCoy, obviously a part of that roster as backup QB on that team. But it's going to be rough, because week 1, they face the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 2, the Las Vegas Raiders. And then week 3, they have the Los Angeles Rams, of course, the reigning Super Bowl champs. And then later in the season, week 16, they will be taking on Tampa Bay at home. So I'm sure we will get plenty of highlights from those games and from the outcomes of those games for that season. So the Arizona Cardinals, your featured team for the in-season version of Hard Knocks this year. Moving on, we talked some Justin Thomas. He was the winner of the PGA Championship over the weekend, and he also made headlines prior to the start of that championship run, with agreeing with fans that beer prices were just way too high. So he's a man of the people. We know that, and we love that about Justin Thomas. He also kind of gave his 2 cents on the Saban v. Jimbo Fisher fight when he said, when asked about his championship he quoted a Nick Saban quote that's become very popular. You know, I only let it live on for 24 hours and then we move on. So that's his take there. But he's also a man of his caddy. His current caddy used to caddy for one Phil Mickelson. And Phil Mickelson has really gone sour for a lot of folks. But the caddy, who goes by Jim Bones McKay, has been with Justin Thomas as of lately. And as we know, Phil Mickelson has won plenty of majors and other tournaments from the PGA. And typically when a golfer wins, the caddy receives, because they don't get the trophy, right? So they receive the 18th hole flag. He had never received that before because Phil Mickelson would take him home to his family. He would never give that memento to his caddy. And apparently that was even part of the contention between them of like, he's winning all of these flags and the caddy is not getting his trophy at the end of it. That coming out in that biography, unauthorized biography of Phil Mickelson that should come out later this summer. But Justin Thomas doing the right thing. He wins not only a PGA Tour stop, but a major championship and hands over the 18th hole flag to his caddy, who said it was incredible. He said he didn't want to give a speech, but that he felt great about getting that flag and finally getting one, because as we said, he saw Phil Mickelson win so many times, and it wasn't until 2017 that they parted ways. But Chris, did you know about this tradition, and does that just make you, kind of move yourself even further from ever liking Phil Mickelson in the first place? Because I think sometimes he had some bright spots, with the dancing long sleeve t-shirts and all that.
Both, Shannon. I did not know about the tradition, so I learned something new there. And you gave me one more reason not to like Phil Mickelson. What a jerk! It's a tradition. This is what caddies want, and you withhold that 18th hole flag from Jim Bones McKay.
Get a different flag for your family.
Yeah, come on.
They're not gonna know.
Yeah, they don't care.
Probably.
Yeah.
Whether or not they get the flag or not.
You suck, Phil Mickelson.
You already get the millions. So there's that. All right, finally, we're going to go overseas to some European football. We talked about this when it first was announced. Ryan Reynolds and his friend Rob McElhenney, real-life Ted Lasso situation in which they purchased a kind of a fading franchise in the world of soccer, but one of the oldest franchises in the world of soccer in Wrexham. Well, in their first season as owners, they took them all the way to the FA Cup championship game. They did end up losing that one over the weekend by a 1-0 score. But what was more the story was who showed up to watch alongside the owners and Ryan Reynolds and his friend Rob. Not only Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, who is an incredible actress and is known for her dashing and ever-altering looks. I mean, her style game is always on point. But he also had David Beckham in the house, and also an owner of soccer and actor of soccer movies. One Will Ferrell was in attendance. So they've really brought to light this season. Not only do they get to the championship game, but a lot of notoriety now bestowed upon that franchise. So I ask you this question as we're kind of dealing with Dan Snyder and the thought that he may not be long for this world. Would you rather an owner for a team of yours be someone like Ryan Reynolds, not necessarily knowledgeable of the sport, but is able to bring some fun times and some notoriety and maybe some wins along the way? Or someone more like we see in the NFL, some kind of just rich guys who can throw money at all of their problems and hope that ultimately turns the team around?
Thank you, Jerry. I get a little entertainment. I kind of like the Ryan Reynolds approach. And as you mentioned, he got them to the championship. And, even if you're an entertainment person and you're going to bring Will Ferrell and Blake Lively and David Beckham to the game, if you're smart and you're not a soccer expert, so you hire soccer people to make the personnel decisions, then maybe you can have the best of all worlds. Maybe it can all work out.
Yeah. Well, as a reminder, we talked about Hard Knocks, that this show, Ryan Reynolds has a documentary style show coming out about his team and how they put all this together, and I'm sure the finale will include that very famous press box that was seen at the championship over the weekend. So that should be coming out sometime soon. Something else to look forward on your sports watch list. There it is, today's Salty Shakedown.
Outstanding Salty Shakedown as always. And again, Shannon, when I learned something I did not know, and I almost always do from the Salty Shakedown, the 18th hole tradition that the caddies get that flag, and that Phil Mickelson was such a jerk that he would take that. The caddy gets it. But no, I'm Phil Mickelson. I'll take that. I'll give that to my family. And your family is the family of a multimillionaire. Yeah. They got cash. They got Rolls Royces. They got everything they want. They got Lamborghinis probably for the kids. They don't want some damn flag from the 18th hole. That's so stupid.
It's silly. And the caddies, I think it's 7% that they get of the winnings.
Ooh.
from their,
that so ain't bad.
No, it's great. Okay, yay, we won, but also not on top of my percent. I want my trophy, which is that flag for me.
Yeah, and if you're a caddy and you've got all these wins, I'm sure you have like a rec room in your home where you line up those flags. It's like
your personal into a blanket or something. Yeah.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy. But I will definitely, you mentioned, and again, I'm no Arizona Cardinals fan, and I was no Indianapolis Colts fan last year when they did the in-season Hard Knocks, but you get to know personalities, and again, depending on how much they highlight J.J. Watt now of the Cardinals, who doesn't love J.J. Watt? So it's going to be cool.
Someone go check on him. He's probably not doing well.
Yeah.
He's probably unwell this morning.
Yeah, going to be, man, football is a-coming. We are getting closer and closer to NFL football, but the NBA playoffs are upon us, and nobody better to talk NBA playoffs than our resident basketball savant and certified yoga instructor, KARL SCHOENING. We will talk NBA playoffs, what happened last night, Boston's blowout of Miami, and the Golden State Warriors, who are going to try to sweep the Dallas Mavericks tonight. We'll also talk about the NBA draft, which is now less than a month away. Big 8 o'clock hour coming up. We'll dive back into the NFL, Houston Astro talk as well. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. Jeremy KOLOK makes the whole show go. We are with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. James Allen, good morning. Thanks for being here, James. Always good to see you. And I'm assuming, James, you'll join us later in the week, which we always enjoy if you can do it. We'll talk about it. I mean, you're always invited. So, all right. I'm going to get some ice. I got iced tea, but I don't have any ice. Did somebody say ice? Very much. Woo. James Allen, everybody. James Allen. It is confirmed we'll be on the show. So, James, do you want Thursday at 8:05 or do you like the Friday at 8:05? I think at this point we could do either. Totally up to you, sir. Okay, well, since I'm walking for a minute, I'll give you some Jeremy KOLOK for your viewing pleasure. You know him, you love him, you can't get enough of him. How come it's my call, James Allen? Yeah, but you're James Allen. You're kind of a big deal. Let Jeremy pick. All right, we might do that. That could be a good compromise. All right, I am stepping out for a moment to get some ice and to nuke my coffee. In fact, I'm going to do it this way. That way I'm not carrying that. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
When flying insects show up in your home, how do you get rid of them? Hopelessly clapping every single one? Aimlessly swatting back and forth? Hanging fly strips in your living room? Ew, ew, ew. Instead, try Zevo traps. Zevo uses light, not odor or chemical insecticides, to attract and trap bugs, working continuously so you don't have to. Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly. Now at a store near you.
Woo! Woo! All right, let's see here. Thanks, James Allen. I think you're out of here already. If not, have a great day. Have a great meeting. What am I looking for here? I am looking for.
Hey, Kellen, need a spot? No, Jake from State Farm. I'm just saying goodbye to my pricing gym membership. What? Don't give up with the love. State Farm has options like insuring your home and ride with great rates on both. Nice.
There's KARL Schoening, who joins us in a moment. Okay. In fact, I don't think I.
Junk sleep got you down? The sleep experts at Mattress Firm can help. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $500 off during the best Memorial Day sale ever. Plus, it's a great for qualifying purchase.
$5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract in Pakistan. Not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide with deals like our Silver Unlimited plan, just $2 a month and no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $249, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, that's money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G require actual coverage. See terms and conditions at StraightTalk.com.
All right. What else is happening? I can't, on my screen there, John Williams, I can't see the link. See if I can spot it. Jeremy is calling KARL Schoening. I do have ice, and I got coffee. Ice, ice, baby. I see. I can't see the video. See, because I have it up like that on my screen, and it doesn't give me the link. It gives me the address, and now we're back. So I will try to take a look at that in the next break. Here we come. Woo! Woo!
You know the day destroys. Try to run, try to hide. To the other side. We're going. Now, Chris Duel.
It is a Taco Tuesday, and we are in the midst of the NBA playoffs. A blowout last night as the Boston Celtics win by 20. It wasn't even that close if you watched the game, which Jeremy KOLOK watched the entire game because he's a glutton for punishment. But Boston beats Miami 102-82. Miami scored 0 field goals in the first 8.5 minutes. Former Spur Derek White with the first 7 points for the Boston Celtics last night. So with the win, Boston ties the series at 2 games apiece. The pivotal game number 5 will be tomorrow night at Miami. Meanwhile, tonight, the Golden State Warriors go for the sweep in Dallas against the Dallas Mavericks. That'll be 8 o'clock tonight on TNT. And we love talking basketball with broadcaster, basketball savant, basketball guru, and certified yoga instructor, KARL Schoening. KARL, how are you on this Taco Tuesday?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Chris. How you guys doing?
We are doing great. I don't know what to make of that blowout last night at TD Garden in Boston. It looks like Miami just didn't even show up. And it always amazes me, Karl, and I don't fully understand it. You know, you get to the conference finals, and obviously these are two very good basketball teams in the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. How Miami can just get so blown out from the get-go with all the talent that they have, I don't understand it. How does that happen so often in an NBA playoff series? The spread will go, one team will win by 18, and then the next game, the other team could win by 20 on the other side of it. It's amazing how lopsided these games can be.
Yeah, and this has sort of been an outlier of the last, I want to say like dozen games or so. It feels like, there's only really been a couple good games. You maybe count that big comeback that the Celtics had, but they came up short on Saturday night. And then you look at the one close game, that was the big Warriors comeback where they were able to overcome a big deficit. So other than that, it really has just kind of been, I hate to say it, a bit of a boring playoff because nobody likes to see it when a team only puts up 11 points in the first quarter. And that's one of those, you can't win a game in the first quarter, but you can lose a game in the first quarter. And that's what happened last night. The Heat, I know that they were maybe expecting Tyler Hero to play a big role, and then it's sort of deflating when he's out. And then you obviously have Kyle Lowry with his injury issues. And, both of these teams are just so banged up that I think whoever throws the first haymaker and lands at the any given night really has the leg up for the rest of the game. And that's just how it goes sometimes. But, it's never really been this consistently happening that way. So, yeah, I do think that it's a bit of a bummer that, we haven't really had too many great games the last few playoff games, but that's how it goes. I think, I hate to be negative Nancy here, but nobody's playing on the level of the Warriors of the 4 teams left. So this could be a very easy path for the Warriors to come away with the NBA title here in the next few weeks.
Let's go there, Karl, because, I'm obviously a Mavs fan, and from blowout games that we've seen to just blowout series, I mean, this is a conference finals, and here we are kind of expecting the Warriors to win and be 4-0 in this series and get to sit and watch and probably salivate over who they get to play next, because after last night's showing, I think they'd love nothing more than to beat up on either of those teams. Is it just destiny right now that the Warriors with their 3 big men and Draymond, Steph, and Clay all back together, all healthy again, that this is just going to be their year?
Seems like it. It really does because, Dallas reminds me a lot. It's funny, Trae Young and Luka will always have a sort of connectedness, if you will, because they were traded on draft night. And this Mavericks team sort of reminds me of last year's Hawks team. With the big star obviously headlining the team, the entire group is really just not ready for a conference finals, although it's good for them that they got that far. And in this particular case, Luka can do whatever he really wants, but I believe it was 11 of 48 from 3 the first game and 13 of 45 the last game. So, with the exception of that one game where I think they shot 48% in game 2, it just so happened that the Warriors shot over 50% from 3 in game 2 to, kind of complete their comeback there in the second half. And yeah, it seems like destiny in a way, because obviously you go back to the first championship in 2015 for them, and you could tell that it was maybe the start of something special. If I'm not mistaken, that was the year that Steph Curry became the first unanimous MVP. He got first place votes across the board. And then the next year, obviously, it was the 73-win team that lost in the finals. And then you can say whatever you want about the Kevin Durant Warriors, but that team just wasn't there. And those teams were made off of 2K. And then that was sort of a weird little ending to the Warriors when Klay Thompson tears ACL, and then he's out with the Achilles injury the next year. And then there's all those injury bugs. So back-to-back years, they're in the lottery with one year them getting the second overall pick. They were so bad. And oddly enough, I wouldn't say that Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, or James Wiseman have really done anything to propel them to this spot here in the Western Conference Finals. They're 3 lottery picks those 2 years that they didn't make the playoffs. It really is those same core of guys from the first championship run. And you add on pieces like Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. And I think I was saying this last week on the show with y'all. You could argue that this supporting cast is better than the 73-win Warriors teams. Sure, the stars aren't in their prime, but, top to bottom, this Warriors team, they're just designed to win a championship because you still got Steph Curry being one of the best scorers in the game. You still have Draymond Green doing his, sort of Dennis Rodman impersonation of being the heart and soul defender. And, you don't really need Klay Thompson to be Klay Thompson when you also have all of the other guys around, such as Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins playing well. And Kevon Looney is playing, pretty well as somebody who is almost an afterthought when you have to deal with all those other guys. So that's really what's going on with this Warriors team is they are the most championship experienced team left. And I do think that they're the most talented team left. So really, when you get to the NBA Finals, whether they're playing the Heat or the Celtics, it just seems like the Warriors going to win that series in 4 or 5-2.
Yeah, KARL Schoening with us. And KARL, I say it a lot, and it's the way I feel. I've seen this movie so many times with the Golden State Warriors when they won the 73 games, when they've won previous titles. And I know they were tripped up a couple of times, one time kind of unexpectedly by the Cleveland Cavaliers. But it's kind of chilling if you don't love the Warriors, and I really don't. But, as you mentioned, with Jordan Poole and with Andrew Wiggins and the way they are playing, I think you make a great case and a huge point that the supporting cast is probably the best it's been, including any previous Golden State Warriors championship team. And then, as you mentioned, KARL, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr, just the championship pedigree and the championship experience that not only do they have it, but they can impart it to these younger players on this roster who have not been this deep into the playoffs. It's they're going to be very, very hard to beat. I guess I got to just start being happy for Steve Kerr and his Spurs roots down the line on this one, KARL.
Yeah, and they're very much an example of, I guess, almost the hardest thing that everyone's trying to emulate nowadays. It used to be one of those things where it's like, oh, let's look at the Spurs. They have somebody like Tim Duncan. Let's get a dominant big man. Or, it used to be, with the exception of the Michael Jordan era, the team that dominated the paint won the championships. However, this three-point era we've really embraced where, teams are putting up over 43s a game, which, probably would have been laughed at if you talk about those 2005 championship Spurs, where I think they put up like 6 threes in the game or something like that. It's such a different contrast of styles these days that the Warriors just have that 3-point power that you really can't match. You have to try and match. You see, like I say, the Mavericks putting up all these threes, but really nobody's going to be able to match the firepower of the Warriors because they just the most consistent shooting team in the NBA and probably in NBA history.
KARL, last week the NBA Combine was in action, and I wanted to know if you caught any of it and if anyone made a name for themselves that maybe we weren't already hearing about for the upcoming draft.
Obviously there's some people that stand out. I want to say somebody whose measurables really looked good to sort of play the sort of modern small ball 4, the 3-4 position from LSU, Tari Easton. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye out on around that 9th, 10th pick. I think he's somebody who maybe kind of did himself some favors. How about Mark Williams from Duke? He has measured out to be one of the I think he's like 7'2" in shoes and has like a 9'9" standing reach and a 7'7" wingspan. He's athletic and he's a sophomore out of Duke. So he has a little bit of experience with 2 years under Coach K. So I kind of get the feeling that he solidified his spot as a lottery pick just because he measured so well. And then, I think there's a lot of people that have kind of boosted their stock. And it's sort of interesting when you get to the the more or less sort of Olympic trials, if you will, where you're talking about measurables and how do you stand on the court. Somebody like Dyson Daniels from the G League Ignite, he was somebody who was maybe going to be floating around end of the lottery and later first round kind of buzz, but he had such a interesting showing where he was looking a little more consistent on his three-point shot, maybe a little more bulked up because he's one of those G League Ignite guys. So he got his full year in professional basketball. That I can't believe I'm saying this, but I saw a tweet from a credible source saying that he was getting top 5 buzz.
Wow.
You know, yeah, it's sort of like smokescreen season in a way. I get the feeling that that's not likely the case, but you know, that's where I think GMs go to fall in love with guys because you get to see them up close and personal, and there really is just such a huge difference from seeing these obviously physical specimen of people in person and actually getting some answers to questions like how long is the wingspan? You know, somebody like Drew Timme, how tall is he really without shoes? And the answer was 6'9". So the combine's kind of cool where, you know, these guys really do get a chance to showcase things that maybe they wouldn't be allowed to do in college basketball. But at the same time, you know, I shout out to Mitch Johnson for really being one of the coaches for the scrimmage teams. But I just don't see how you can kind of throw these guys together and say, okay, go out there and play scrimmages. But, you know, going all the way back to good old George Hill, those scrimmages sometimes really give you a chance to see these guys going up against each other. And they could be just as important as any game that they played in the NCAA. So, yeah, there's a few guys that, you know, will make jumps during the combine. But, you know, the interview process, the things that we're not really privy to, those are the sort of things that really will elevate somebody's stock. And if somebody interviews well, I imagine somebody like Josh Primo probably interviewed very well with the Spurs, that probably will really be the thing that solidifies whether a team will draft somebody. Because at the end of the day, it's the only industry where you're talking to these teenagers and about to make them millionaires. And that's something that I think the interview process plays just as important a part as their measurables.
Yeah, that's a great point. He is KARL Schoening, our basketball guru. And KARL, you mentioned, and it is so amazing, so many one and dones, and you know, you have to invest so many millions of dollars into a teenager, and you're hoping you get it right, and that, you know, this guy can perform for you in the next few years and make an impact on your team. I wonder, you mentioned Mark Williams out of Duke, and you mentioned, you know, a year under Coach K. Do you think, you know, all other things being equal, and I know all other things aren't equal, but, you know, when you are recruited by a Duke and a Coach K, and we know it was his final season, but, you know, there's such respect for Coach K. Do you think that has an impact when you've spent a year in a program like Duke? Does that give you an advantage over, you know, maybe some other schools where the coach is not so prolific and legendary and maybe doesn't necessarily prepare a young man as well for the NBA?
I would imagine that. Obviously I don't have the, you know, firsthand experience of working with these guys, but, you know, there are coaches that maybe aren't as, you know, name in the headlines like Coach K, such as Leonard Hamilton over at Florida State, who was Devin Vassell's coach, and Scotty Barnes' coach, who, you know, those guys are pretty good players. And you know, you listen to Leonard Hamilton talk, and you could get me to go into Florida State. I'll tell you that. These guys are really good coaches. Then if you do maybe kind of wonder about somebody who is dealing with, you know, a second-year coach, and then maybe he transferred to another school, and then he had a really breakout year with a, you know, not so big-name coach, then yeah, I imagine that that's not as big of a deal. But then when you kind of hear that Coach K coached you, there's a certain expectation that comes with being a Duke player, or, you know, a Roy Williams player back in the day, only a few years ago back in the day. And yeah, I imagine that probably does play a little bit into it. But really, almost at this point, when you get here, it's based off of your potential. It's do you have the size to play at the NBA level? Do you have anything that we really need to fix in your shot, or you know, do you play scared potentially? There are some things that they dissect you at so many levels, because, like we were just mentioning, it's millions of dollars of investment in these young 20s or late teenagers. And, that's why when it comes to the NBA draft, I keep an eye on it. But really, these guys who pour their full-time jobs into it, they're the real experts. And, I just kind
of... we might have lost Karl. Karl, you still there? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're still there. You dipped for just a moment there.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that when it comes to NBA front offices, they do this for a full-time living, and I just kind of play an expert on radio.
Well, and you're quite the expert on radio, and your basketball knowledge always blows us away. He is KARL Schoening, and KARL, I mentioned at the outset, and we don't talk about it enough because I think it's cool that you are a certified yoga instructor. You have conducted yoga classes for athletes. I know specifically at Texas State, you've done it. Have you been? And I know you've been doing a lot of broadcasting lately, and you've got the company now and the broadcasting company. Do you get a chance, A, to teach yoga because your schedule is so crazy right now, or B, are you continuing your yoga practice one way or another with your busy schedule?
I have not been teaching because when the pandemic happened, I decided that there were only so many times I was going to roll the dice and go out in the public and, sort of risk infection. So I have not been teaching. I think I taught like once in May of 2020. And then I kind of taught a little bit in the summer because when I was in San Marcos, a new studio had just opened and I wanted to help them out by filling in when I could. But I had not been teaching at all since I moved to San Antonio. So, nowadays it's feeling a lot better. I'm pretty confident in the vaccine because I have not gotten any kind of infection, even though I know that I've been around some other people who would eventually test positive. So, I kind of get the feeling that I can kind of go back out and find some spots. So, I might start teaching again. I hadn't really put too much thought into it, but, now that UTSA's season's done for me, at least, the baseball team is playing in the Conference USA baseball tournament this week, but that starts tomorrow. But no, I haven't really thought too much about it, but I might look into that, Chris. That's not a bad idea.
Well, and I said to Shannon and Jeremy before you came on, I wanted on my bucket list, I want to take a yoga class from KARL Schoening. I want to have the KARL Schoening yoga experience. So as soon as you're teaching again, you got to let me know so I can learn from the best.
Okay, yeah. Let me shake off some rust. I will put something special together and let you guys know when I'm teaching again around town.
Very cool. We might even have to live stream that just so people can get some laughs seeing me try to get into these yoga poses that you are an expert at creating and teaching and guiding people through. KARL Schoening is a great follow on Twitter at KS Media 13. KARL, it's always great, man. We always learn more about basketball on all levels when we talk to you than we did before we started the conversation. So we always appreciate it. Enjoy tonight's NBA game as the Warriors try to close out the Dallas Mavericks, and we'll talk again real soon. Thanks so much, KARL.
Hey, I appreciate that, Chris. Thanks, Salty. Thanks, Jeremy. I'll talk to y'all later.
Absolutely. Once again, go follow him on Twitter at KS Media 13. As we roll forward, I got to talk to Shannon and Jeremy about the new Spurs logos. Yesterday, the Spurs rolled out 3 new Spurs logos. And once again, you had some Spurs fans going, up, up, up. I see ATX in that logo. And then there's some of them there. There's one that's like the state of Texas and the center of the spur. Some people are saying is over Austin, Texas. Is that true? Or are people just freaking out? We'll talk Spurs logo. Got to talk a little bit of Astros. Astros lost to the Cleveland Guardians yesterday, 6-1 in Houston. We mentioned it. We might do a little Astros talk, and we can never talk enough football because more football is good football. We'll try to get to some football as well as we roll forward. One more half hour left. Don't go anywhere. Lots coming at you. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. Jeremy KOLOK is your Soundscape stylist. With you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Oh, my goodness. I love it when I can save a sneeze until after we go off the air. You don't want to do that. Luckily, I can turn the mic off. I didn't have time to turn the mic off there. So I don't want to subject you to a sneeze. But sometimes they hit you fast. Woo. Okay, I need... Yeah, Dean, they changed the name, man. The Indians was too offensive to a lot of people. And I get in the Yahoo, Chief Yahoo logo certainly was. So, all right, I got to edit these spots. So that's the first one. Let's see here. Let's go there. That's still too long. So let's kill a little bit. All right. Got those edited. That's good. Save. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. Okay, I need to send these. All right. Going to talk about the Spurs logos. And if I do that, does that get me the logos there? There it is. Now, if I go to that. Woo! We'll talk about these Spurs logos here.
Back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney.
Welcome back. Little highway to the danger zone. Oh, this is the day, right? The 24th. This is the day Top Gun Maverick drops. Jeremy KOLOK, is that why you're playing that song? Because you've got Top Gun Maverick fever?
See, I thought today was the day because I know someone's seen it today, but then I just looked it up right before this segment to make sure, I was being factually correct here this morning, and it says the 27th. So now I'm like, is this individual I know have some sort of preferential treatment here, like an early screening? So some people are seeing it today, apparently. It is the week. I know it's the week. We know that.
I think in selected theaters today, I could be wrong. It's going to show. Shannon, you know something about this?
I'm a nerd. I love movies, so I have my local theaters app. And when you open it up today, there is a Top Gun early access event. It's just one particular showing at this theater. But yes, some people do have the availability to, or the ability to go check that out today.
And I do want to mention our good friend Don Harris, the news director at News 4 San Antonio, mentioned last week and he featured it on Sports Sunday with Reed Ryan, the Facing Nolan documentary. I think it's on 8 different screens across San Antonio today. I think it's probably also in Austin. So check. I'm not 100% sure on Austin, so check that. But Don Harris says Facing Nolan, a documentary on Nolan Ryan, is outstanding filmmaking, and he highly recommends it. And he told us that last week on the show. So it's one night only. So if you're going to see one or the other, you want to see them both, I would go see Facing Nolan, and you could go still see Top Gun Maverick later in the week. And Shannon, how sad and ironic it would be on the day that Top Gun Maverick drops if your beloved Dallas Mavericks fall tonight and are swept by the evil Golden State Warriors. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean the name similarity is certainly there. I would say that this Top Gun Maverick movie, I think, was supposed to come out like 2 years ago, right? And it was one of those almost like the James Bond where they just kept pushing it 6 months and pushing it 6 months and so now it's finally out. So for that, I don't think it's as symbolic as it might have been had this have been the original release date. Because unfortunately, I do think only one Maverick is going to succeed this evening, and it's likely going to be Top Gun.
All right. We got to talk about the new Spurs logos, Shannon and Jeremy. Yesterday, the Spurs released these 3 logos, and they tweeted out these words. They said, "These new marks embrace our long history in Texas while staying true to the Spurs' iconic legacy. Our primary logo and icon featuring the classic Spur design, as well as our global logo and word marks, will remain unchanged. Be on the lookout for these new marks," they're calling them marks, "beginning this season." Once one of them, I'm looking at them now, we've got them on the screen for our live video feed. One of them is kind of a black basketball with silver with SATX and a Spur-ish logo on it. Another one is just the bold SATX, and at the end of the X, it comes back toward the middle of the logo, and there is that Spur that you see on the Spur logo on the Spur itself, kind of the spinning, pointed Spur wheel. And then the other one is the state of Texas. This is the one, Shannon, that mainly has Spurs conspiracy theorists freaking out. It's the state of Texas with that Spur, star-like pointed end of the Spur over the state of Texas. And it looks like, according to some people, that the middle of that Spur, Shannon, is over Austin, Texas. You are an Austin resident. Your thoughts on that specific state of Texas logo and all of these 3 Spurs logos in general? Then we'll check in with Jeremy on them.
I mean, Texas is a big place, and relatively speaking, San Antonio and Austin are very close together. And when you are trying to do a graphic, which is much smaller, those cities become even more closely together. And so I think that's just people trying to hate, right? I mean, it's not like it's in Dallas, right? I mean, it's South Central Texas. It's fine. They're just looking for something.
Yeah, I think there are some Spurs conspiracy theorists who are going to jump on anything they can jump on. Even the SATX logos are good. Well, see, I see ATX in there. Well, it's SATX, so yeah. Get over it.
Well, those to me, my first reaction was, what community college are these for? Because it does not scream MBA in my mind.
Yeah, and I love the Spurs with all my heart and soul. Especially though the state of Texas one, I think is kind of cool. I can live with it. The other two, they don't water my eyes. And again, I love merch just like the next person. And I see something cool, I want to go buy it. The two other than the state of Texas logo just don't dazzle me. Jeremy KOLOK, okay, can you tell us anything different? Can you tell us that, man, when I saw those logos, it made my day. As a Spurs fan, I wanted to go downtown honking my car on Market Street. How did you react?
Well, honestly, I am not a fan of this wave that seems to have hit the NBA in the past few years of like this minimalist design of a circular logo similar to the Brooklyn Nets, the Detroit Pistons, the Milwaukee Bucks. There was like this some shift,
76ers.
the
Yeah.
76. I cannot stand that. Like, why do you not want to stand out a little bit more? Why do we want all these little identical circular logos?
Mhm.
And the Spurs have one of these that they're putting in a little basketball. But I like this one because it's black and it's I feel like it stands out more than those other ones. It doesn't look like the Nets one, even though they have similar colors. It doesn't look like the 76ers, the Bucks one, or the Timber. If you look at the Timberwolves and the Bucks, they're the same logo. They're the exact same logo. But I like this little basketball with SATX. The Texas one, am I the only one that got Dallas Stars vibes from it? Like, don't they have a Texas
That's what it is.
outline logo? Yeah, that's what I
Ooh.
saw out of it. So that maybe if we can differentiate from that a little bit, maybe it sticks with the Spurs once we see it on the side of a uniform or something. But I kind of like these. I don't hate them. I feel
Okay.
like, yeah, I don't see anything specifically to hate. The Austin thing is a fun little conspiracy, but I like incorporating the Spurs star thing like you mentioned, Chris. I think they look cool.
Now, what about for either of you, the ones with the SATX? And I even saw some people yesterday on social media going, well, that ATX, man, it sure is prominent. Well, all the letters are the same size. But I think, Shannon, it is a little clever. Yeah, the Spurs plan on, and we've talked about it at length, it's probably a good idea to expand into the Austin market. However, it's only like 2 games per season at this point. But it is kind of clever if you're going to design that logo that SATX not only has SA in it, but it does have ATX in it in addition to the S. I think it's when they made that decision, I feel it was probably conscious to include Austin, and I don't think it's that bad of a thing. What about you?
I mean, what are you going to do? Change the initials of the city? Like that is San Antonio. Like if you're mad, then you're mad at San Antonio that the initials are SATX. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
That one though, however, of the 3, I think is my least favorite for sure.
Now, which one, the basketball or just the letters?
No, the just the letters. That's the
Okay.
one that screams community college, simple. Here's all of our letters together kind of vibe. Put that on a hoodie and sell it.
I just hope they don't put that on the front of a jersey, like just the SATX. I don't hate it by itself, but if they put that just as the main lettering instead of Spurs or San Antonio, then I think I would have a problem with that. And I'm with Shannon. That looks a little community college-y. Nothing wrong with community colleges, but this is the Spurs we're talking about here.
Yeah, and we're getting on the live video feed, Paul Lamb is saying, and I've seen people say this, that the state of Texas logo among these 3 new Spurs logos, he says the star is too high. It says Austin to me. He put a throwing up emoji. So I don't know what the angst is about the whole Austin, San Antonio. As a guy who just drove from San Antonio to Austin and back for the weekend and saw 2 cool concerts in Austin, I just think I think we need to embrace both markets. And I always go back to Graham Weston, the founder of or co-founder of Rackspace and Geekdom, and a philanthropist who's worked a lot in the market and globally. He says, think of it as one big market, ASA, Austin, San Antonio, or SATX. I don't think it's an awful thing to embrace both. So I do, but Jeremy, you just said, will that ever wind up on a jersey? I'll bet you they all do, because once you put it on a jersey, you're making more money. And NBA, they got to make money. I'm very confident we're going to see these on jerseys. And once you put it on a jersey, Taro Kotani's going to buy 5 of them. So you're going to, I see Taro on social media, our good friend, the greatest international Spurs fan from Tokyo. And dude has every jersey. Dude has every t-shirt. He's like, and there are Spurs super fans like that. And I love them. And if I had that kind of money to spend on jerseys, I would. I got to pick and choose on my lucrative radio salary. But you put it, you roll out of New Jersey, especially like the Fiesta jerseys, Shannon, and lots of people are going to buy that merch.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I get emails from the University of Texas with every other week of what sport is currently hot and what new items they have, and they're constantly pushing something. And this paired with, I'm assuming, the 50th anniversary of the Spurs, they're already going to have that merch. Why not include this as well? Kind of interesting though, because they do have that Spurs 50th anniversary logo that, they have the gold and it acknowledges the championships, and that these 3 sets that are the alternate logos, or is what they're calling them, don't acknowledge that at all.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. And I know we're kind of up against it, Shannon, but you went to a brewery. You enjoyed a little barley malt beverage yesterday in Houston. How was that?
I had me a Monday fun day yesterday. Went to check out Eighth Wonder Brewery, which very much named after the old Astrodome, and there's a lot of Astros hints in there. And the kind of the cool thing, I noticed it as we were driving in, this giant, I don't know what they're made out of, but I mean, I don't know how tall they're like 30 feet tall, I feel like. Statues of each of the Beatles, and they're even playing their instruments or holding a microphone that I like ran all the way back to take a picture. I was like, Chris is gonna love this.
I loved it.
But it was great. Good music, obviously good brews. They have a lot of custom stuff that they do there, and they are in Austin. Like, they do sell in Austin. I've just yet to find it. So it was fun to go to the actual distillery yesterday and brewery.
Very cool. And you sent me that photo of the Beatles sculpture, and gosh, I've got to make the holy pilgrimage to Houston just to see that with my own eyes, which is very, very cool. And we didn't get to it, Shannon, but the Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban controversy continues. What anything new on that you are tracking that we'll probably dive into more tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think, kind of seeing what sides other coaches and people are saying from around the world of sports. But you haven't really much commented on it because, of course, the press conference occurred via Jimbo Fisher on the Thursday before you left. So, I mean, what are your thoughts now that we're, almost a week into this?
I think it's delicious, first of all. And I listened to a lot of the show you did with Paul on Friday, which was tremendous. And I agree with you and Paul. It's going to be a huge storyline all season long, certainly on October 8th when the teams play. But I do see more people lining up and backing Saban seemingly on this. I think they both did what they had to do. Well, and Saban didn't have to bring up A&M and Dion, but he then did apologize, which was the big thing to do. But I like Jimbo Fisher. It's like, you took a shot at us. I like that he slapped back, he punched back, said, I'm not taking your call, and I think very deftly turned it on. You're going after 17-year-old kids and their parents, which was powerful. Yep. So fun stuff, and we'll keep an eye on it all week, see if there are developments.
Yeah, hopefully there are. It's juicy.
Woo! We'll do this again in 21 hours. We will keep an eye on the NBA Finals. I really want to watch HBO's real-time sports tonight. Real sports, to be more accurate, as they're going to interview 2 of the accusers of Deshaun Watson. So we'll look at that. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more tomorrow. Shannon, great job as always. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll do it again. Look forward to it.
Yes, Jeremy KOLOK, you rock, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Get some rest.
Glad to have you back. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Great to be back. We'll do it in 21 hours. For Shannon Salty Sweeney, for Jeremy KOLOK, and our thanks to KARL Schoening, Bill Schoening on the show tomorrow. Have yourself a great Tuesday. Adios, amigos. Michelle Johnson from Marysville, Kansas. Welcome in. Luisa Alanis. Yeah, you can love both cities. I think some San Antonio fans, and again, we've been screwed certainly in football franchises over the years, but let me put that there. All right, I am going to end this live broadcast So let me check that real quick. All right, we are out of here. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here.